Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Mary, seat of wisdom,
Pray for us.
in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
So we continue our study on the judgment and proposition. So we said that judgment is made essentially with a predicate attributed to a subject to the verb to be. So we studied that. And we studied that the expression of the judgment is the proposition. And we saw that the characteristic of the judgment on page number 2.1, it is the actual affirmation or denial. We affirm or we deny. So we have affirmation or we have negation. So when it is affirmation, that means the predicate, the subject is in the predicate. It is inclusion. If I say, for example, students are happy because they understand, of course, they are happy. So that the students here are a part of all those who are happy. So the quality of happiness, to be happy, is applied to a part of the happiness to the student. So we saw the distribution is, the predicate is on distributed. We cannot, the students are a part of, the subject is a part of the attribute, is a part of the attribute. Now here's the subject, you have the subject and the predicate. So the subject is in the predicate is attributed partially to the subject. There is another thing, other people who are happy, but that there is some student. Now if I deny, I exclude completely. The subject is completely apart the predicate. Separation, exclusion. Inclusion, exclusion. And when it is exclusion, the exclusion is total, universal. So the predicate is totally outside of the subject. So the predicate of a negation is necessarily distributed. And the predicate of an affirmative is necessarily undistributed. Okay? Now the second, a simple proposition, one predicate for one subject. And finally, the third, the proposition is true or false. Because the judgment expresses always a relation to the reality. Oh.
What page are we on in the notes?
For me, I don't know, we have the same edition. Page, for me, it's page 45.
On 60, 69. Okay.
Because I don't have the same edition. Number 4.3. Oh, I forgot to write it. So today is the 20. Judgment, second part.
Oh, judgment.
Okay. Alors, donc the third, when we have the judgment is always referring to the reality. And we saw that the verb to be, can indicate a simple link, like a column. For example, man, column, or is a rational animal. So here, is does not indicate the existence of man, but indicate what is the definition. It is a definition. If I say a cyclops, is or current man with one eye in the front end, no? Forehead. So the front end. So that means the verb to be does not imply existence. But when the verb to be is linked with the express existence, I say John is a seminarian. Mary is a Dominican sister. Paul is a hockey player. When I say that, what I think corresponds or not to the reality. That means my judgment is the third characteristic of a judgment are true or false. Or my proposition especially are true or false. I can have a judgment, erroneous judgment. I can make a mistake. I can have a rash judgment. That happens. But my proposition can express. I can say, for example, this board is red. I know it is not red, it is green. But I can say that, no? We can say the contrary of what we think. That is a lie. Or sometimes it is an error because we don't use the right word to express. To express what we know. I'm sure those who make mistakes in examination, it is that. They know, but they don't use the right word to express their ideas. Is it not true? No? Okay, so the three characteristics. Now we arrive to the second part, the type of proposition. Last class I went rapidly on page 41 about two types of proposition. I gave you for that chart. You have that here. It is the two kinds of judgment. I will come back on that because it is important, it is useful in the future. We have the judgment we call per se, that means by the, or essential. That means when you look at the thing, you know what is the thing. If you reflect on what is man, man you see is an animal, and man is rational. So that is essential. And how we know a proposition is essential? When the link between the predicate and the subject is essential. You remember what is that? What does express the link between the predicate and the subject? Predicable. Predicable. Remember, predicable express the link, how the predicate is united to the subject. And we saw there are three ways of predicating an attribute, something to the subject in an essential way. What is the first one? Genus. The second? Specific difference. And the third? Species. So that is when we have a judgment or a proposition expressing either the genus or the specific difference or the species, we have an essential judgment or a per se. Per se means by itself, it is obvious when we analyze. And the other kind of judgment are those who are per accident, by accident. That means the judgment or the proposition does not express something accidental. So it does not express something essential, but something accidental. You remember what are the two main ways a predicate express something accidental to the subject? Property. Property. For example, to laugh. Laughing is not necessary to man. Otherwise, we will be continually laughing. And when we stop laughing, we die. But we can laugh because we are intelligent. So that we call that accident property. But there are other accidents who are not property. We have inseparable accident and separable accident. So those predicate indicate that the judgment I do or the proposition I say does not express something essential. It is accidental. So it is the first division of judgment. Some judgments are essential, express something in the essence of the thing, and some other express something which is not in the essence of the thing. Now, how can you know that, for example, John is a good golfer, John is a seminarian, that Mary is a Dominican sister, that Francis is Pope? How we can say that? Only from experience. Experience, from experience. So we call that a posteriori judgment. A posteriori. Okay. And if you look at your paper here, you have that here. So accidental are a posteriori. What do they express accidental? They express a fact, an event, something which is existent outside of your mind, a fact. Okay? And how we can know a fact? Only through experience, observation. And when now you say, John is a seminarian. When you say that, what do? You add something to John. It is not in the essence of John to be a seminarian. It's not in the essence of Mary to be a Dominican. It's not the essence of Francis to be a pope. It is something added. So we say that kind of judgment is synthetic. Synthetic. It is a synthesis. That means we unite a predicate which is not in the subject. We add that to the subject. Okay? It is not in the essence of man to be an American. It's not the essence of man to be a Canadian. It is accidental. The essence of man is to be a rational animal. But we can be a rational animal in Vietnam, or in Canada, or in the United States, or in Peru, or in South America, everywhere. So that is accidental. So here you have, I begin by that. So, judgment, accidental. When the connection is only factual. For example, man is able to laugh. That is a fact. I see men laughing. And I see men laughing, and they ask why they laugh. Because they are intelligent. And because of that, I call that property. Okay? Paul is an American. I had something to Paul. Triangle is right angle. It's not the essence of a triangle to be right angle. It can be isosceles. It can be equilateral. We can have kind of triangle. That is a right angle, but we can have equilateral. We can have isosceles. We can have scalene, irregular, like that. So it is something added to the idea of triangle. Okay? That kind of judgment is indirectly intelligible. That means we cannot see that directly. We can see that only, observe that, know that only through experience, through the senses. For example, the existence of God. How do you know the existence of God as a human being? Through sense experience. We know God through the movement of planets, through the changing, through motion, through the perfection in nature. And from that experiences, we try to find a cause, that we call that, and that indirectly intelligible. Is not directly. You cannot see, but take two persons, and you see, look at the stars, galaxies, thousands of galaxies. Look at that. One will say, oh, God is great. And the other will say, oh, Mother is wonderful. It's not directly intelligible. We have to reason to reason from our sense experience. Like a detective, he cannot say, John Blow did that. Or Dennis the menace did that, No, we have to demonstrate to use our senses. And this is the reason why we call that a posteriori. That means after a posteriori. Posterior, you know what is this? The back of a person. A posteriori from the back. That means from after experience. After experience. Okay? And finally, is synthetic, because the predicate is added to the subject. We add something new to the subject, which is not the essence of the subject. But why I teach that to you? Because you will use that when you study philosophy of God, when you study theology. You have to know that. Father knows best. I prepare the future for you. Okay? Now, let us go now to the first. That is easy to understand, because we can see from experience, we arrive to find the intelligibility, that means what is the form of thing. For example, you look at the desk here. Do you see first the intelligibility, the idea in the desk? No, you see wood, color, dimension, and from that, you see that also, oh yeah, that is a piano, that is a desk. So you find the intelligibility in the thing, in the thing. So we use that only through experience. Now, if I reflect on the essence of a thing, if I reflect on the essence of a triangle, for example, I will discover that a triangle is a figure with three sides and three angles. So I know that only through reasoning. I reason on that. Or I discover man, so I say man is essentially, the essence of every man on earth is to be an animal, because and to be rational, because he thinks. So from that I can deduce, from the idea of man, I discover through, from the essence, if you want, we know the predicate from the essence. It is from the essence we know the predicate. Here it is from experience we know. Here the mode of knowledge, we call that induction. Induction. We know from experiences. But here we know from reasoning. We call that deduction. Deduction. So, we know through deduction, that is proper to philosophy and mathematics. And we know through induction, that is sciences. Chemistry, physics, biology. All the sciences, they start from induction, from observation. Here we start from reasoning. And from reasoning we analyze, we decompose the idea. So look at the text now. Per se, or essential judgment. When the apprehended aspect, when we know, of the thing are connected in their very notions or essence. In fact, animal and rational is in the essence of man. I cannot think man without that. I cannot think triangle without three sides and three angles. And if I have a pentagon, it will be 5 sides and 5 angles. Octagon, 8 sides and 8 angles. That is deduction. Deduction. Okay. And example, God is eternal. And when you study philosophy of God in the second semester, that is advertising for my class. So we say, for example, we say God is eternal, God is merciful, God is just. Do we add something to God when I say God is just? God is merciful, God is eternal, etc. Do I add something to God? No. God is eternal by essence. by essence, is everything, every perfection. So God is eternal. I have nothing to God, but the distinction is founded on the reality, but I have nothing. It is analytical judgment. I analyze, I decompose, like a triangle. I go to the triangle, I reflect on the triangle, so I discover 3 sides and 3. I have nothing, but I start from an analysis of the subject. That is deduction. It is directly intelligible. That means I don't need experiences. I use only my judgment, my mind, and a predicate as nothing to the subject. So that is the first division of proposition. Okay.
So analytical judgment is based on the reality, you said?
Every judgment is based on the reality.
Yeah.
But the way to know, I know, for example, I can know the nature of a triangle without referring to experience, only through my mind, you know. But I cannot know the reality of John as a golfer if John never played golf. I cannot say, oh, this baby, hey, he is a good golfer, yeah? Yes, maybe in potency, but not in the reality. And the judgment is not concerned with the future. We have no certitude with it. You cannot say, he will be a saint, he will be canonized. That is not a judgment. It's a possibility, it's a probability, it's a dream, it's not a judgment. The judgment is based only on facts for that kind of judgment here, on facts or on reasoning, okay? But there is always a link with the reality, with the truth. If I say God is merciful, that judgment is true, you know? Even if I know it, that judgment, through reasoning. If I say John is a good golfer because I go to his house, there are a lot of trophies, that medals, golf. His wife a little picture for his wife. All the rest is God. I have a friend, he is a champion, the bridge champion. So everything is bridge. His poor woman is at the corner. His poor wife in the corner. Okay. So that any judgment, we saw that, any judgment is linked with the reality. And that is the third characteristic. Because of that, it can be true, it can be false. So we saw what is true, conformity of my mind to the reality. What is false? When what I think or what I say does not correspond to the reality. Okay? Now, question? You are ready for the test?
No.
Okay. Oh, that. It's difficult to, because when you wet the brush, it is like glue, but it's not glue on your chair; it's glue on the board. Okay, because I need the board. I am like Italian; they cannot speak without writing on the board. Italian, they cannot talk without using their hands. It's the same for Cameroonian. They put the package on, now they can speak. Okay, so now when we saw the different kind of proposition. You remember, we saw just before leaving universal proposition. What indicates a proposition is universal? What gives to a proposition the dimension, extension? The subject. Subject, you remember? Subjectum, to put under, subject. The subject is supporting the predicate. All the predicates are in the subject. So the subject will indicate the extension of the proposition. So that means the quantity, if you want, the aspect of quantity of the proposition. The aspect of quantity extension is given by the subject. So the subject can be universal. For example, I can say every man or every seminarian is baptized. Every universal. Okay? We can have a proposition which is not every, but some. Some seminarian are or is Canadian. It is the Thanksgiving in Canada, so I am allowed to speak about my country, no? Even if some Americans consider Canada as the no man's land between United States and Alaska. Okay, so that is particular. Particular means a part of. That is the whole. Whole similar. Here it is a part of. We have the totality, but only a part of here. A part of the totality. Some. Now we have some proposition. I can use also negation. If I say seminarian are pious. What kind of proposition is it? Thank you, sister. Seminarian are pious. Is the subject determined here? Is the subject determined? No, there is no determination. It's not the, it's not this, it's not one, it is seminarian. That we call that indefinite. Indefinite. That is particular. That is indefinite. And finally, if I say Victor is a seminarian. Now that is Victor, or this person is a seminarian. That is the singular. One, only one, singular. Okay? So we have four kind of proposition. You have universal, you have a part of, particular, you have indefinite. For example, in the music, opera, you have la donna è mobile. Men, women, I have to translate that, you know. That means it's a beautiful music, beautiful song. La donna è mobile. But, you know, if you understand Italian, you don't like that. Because, I mean, the woman is fickle, is changing. It's changing, it's not stable. That's the meaning. In love, a day she loves one man, another day another man, you know, depending if you So la donna. But is it true that all women are fickle, are mobile, are changing?
Yes.
No, we cannot say that. Some exception. Some exception. So, you know, the subject is united to the, the predicate is united to the subject in an accidental way. It's not essential for a woman to be fickle. So la donna immobile is not good, it's not true. It can be true partially, accidentally, you know, it's not essential. If I say, for example, you go to Cameroon and they say, Americans are rich. because they watch on television Barbara, Santa Barbara, Dallas, all the movie 25 years ago, and they say American rich with big car, big houses, and Big Mac, huh? They open the Mac, Big Mac. So they say Americans are rich. Huh? Is it universal proposition?
No.
No, is it? It is accidental, really. Huh? The predicate, rich, is attributed to American in an accidental. So that means it is only a part of. So when an indefinite proposition expresses something accidental, that proposition is particular. Okay? Because in fact we retain only two kinds of proposition. We retain only universal and particular. Because the T order will enter those propositions. So if I say something accidental, I affirm a predicate which is united to the subject in an accidental way, like a property or a separable accident. When separable accident, the proposition is particular. Okay? Now, if the predicate is attributed to the subject in an essential way, for example, I say, man is rational. Huh? Man is rational animal. It is universal. If I say seminarians are baptized, it is universal because the condition to be seminarian. I say the Vietnamese sisters are holy, are saint, are pious. Particular. But maybe it's universal, but particular, because can be some exception. But if I say Vietnamese sisters are baptized, or they must belong to a congregation, that is absolute. It is necessary, and the proposition will be universal. Okay, you understand that? Huh? When the predicate is united in accidental way, the proposition is particular. When it is essential, the proposition is universal. Finally, you have the singular. But the singular is a part of. So we can consider the singular as a particular. No? What is true of the whole, it is true of the part, it is true also of the individual. No? If it is true that every seminarian is baptized, it is true that every Vietnamese seminarian is baptized, it is true that Jack is baptized. No? So we can take the singular case as a particular. Okay? There is one exception. One exception, you must know that, because I promise you, you will have the question at the examination. It is when I say, for example, Paul is baptized and Paul is not baptized. In that case, the opposition is contradictory. In that case, we can consider the opposition as universal. But what you have to retain in your mind when a singular is affirming here, and the same singular is denied on the other side, that is total opposition. We call contradiction. Contradiction. Okay. Now, I continue discovering the different kind of proposition. Chop, chop, chop. When we consider the proposition, we can put that in first according to the quantity, divide into the quantity, or divide them according to the quality. Bon. What is the quality of a proposition?
The form.
The form. What is the form of a proposition? Affirmative or negative? To affirm or to deny? Huh? Affirmative or negative? And that is given by the verb to be. Huh? The quality, huh? The form of the proposition. The form is the verb. To be or not to be. And the quantity is the matter. Huh? Oh. Now, what is the matter of a proposition? We saw that just before. The subject can be universal or can be particular. Will I have a division for indefinite? No, because indefinite can be situated, placed under particular or under universal. Okay? Now, if you have two possibilities of quantity, two possibilities of quality, 2 multiplied by 2 equal 4. We have 4 possibilities. 4. And every proposition you will study must enter in the fourth possibility. Every. What is the first possibility? Universal, affirmative. Universal, affirmative. And when the subject is universal, we saw that, it is distributed. Huh? For example, every lion is strong. That is universal. Huh? Every lion. It is universal and it is affirmative. And the subject, because the subject gives the extension, so the subject is distributed. That means a lion apply every here. It is applied to every lion. No exception. No exception. Okay? That proposition is universal affirmative. And the predicate of an affirmative proposition is undistributed. That means lions are part of the strong being. The strong being. A group is called lion. But we have trees, you have elephants, you have many things, you are very strong. And among the strong thing, the strong being, you have a part here. So strong is applied to lion in a particular way. That means the idea of strength is not applied totally to the lion. It can be applied also to other animals, to other things. So the predicate is undistributed. That means predicate applied to the subject in a limited way. I see if I have 12 tomatoes in my basket. If I give you 5 tomatoes, do I distribute everything? No, it is undistributed. If I give everything, it is distributed. So when the predicate express partially what it is to the subject, apply partially, the idea of strength applied to the subject only in a limited way, because the idea of strength, to be strong, can be applied to many things. Lions are a part of that. Okay? Now, if I have universal negative, you see, I must say no lion. That is the difficulty of the English language. No lion is strong. Be careful. The negation should be here, but in English, we put that at the beginning. In Spanish, in French, in English, in the Latin, all the time the negation is not at the beginning, it is on the verb. Okay? But English are not like the other people on the world. They are special. They put the negation at the beginning of the sentence. It is their genius. Yeah? You must be careful. Because if you say, for example, not every American is rich. Oh, is it universal? Particular. If you say no American is rich, it is universal. Only a little letter change the meaning. No American, no student is lazy. That means universal. Not every student, not all students. That is, or if I say all students are not lazy. Ha ha! If you say all students are not lazy, what is the meaning of that?
Not even after
Not
every. Some students.
okay. Okay, I say all Americans are rich. Universal. If you say now all Americans are not rich.
No,
Particular.
What? All American, wait. All Americans.
That is a catch.
All Americans are not. Oh, I see. It's particular.
Here it is universal, okay? If I don't say it's true. In affirmation, all American is rich, is universal. If I say all Americans are not rich, is it universal? Particular. Why? Because the negation destroys the universality of the subject. That is very, 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 very important. The most of the time you will make mistake. You will say all is universal. Be careful, all is universal only in an affirmative proposition. If you say, for example, every seminarian is pious, that is universal. If you say every seminarian is not pious, particular.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah, I got it.
Because when you say that, you destroy the universality. You understand, huh? If I say every American is rich, that is for everyone. If I say every American is not rich, no, that means not everyone is rich. So when you have all American, every American, each American is universal. Every American, all American, that is particular. It is the same thing if you write not all American is rich, the same thing. That is one of the difficulty of the English. We don't have that in French.
But Father, if you say no Americans are rich,
Yes, universal. No American is rich, that is universal. But the rest, not every American or American, all American. If you say, for example, all baptized men, all baptized Catholic are not generous, particular. That means it's not a total negation. So the negation destroys the universality of the subject. The universality of the subject is only apparent. So the best way is not to use that. The best way is to say some are not.
But the all is the reason, right?
All express universality.
Yeah.
But because you say no, it is the same thing as you say some Americans are not rich,
Right.
or not every American is rich. It's a negation. You deny that all are. So, by the way, by this fact, all is not universal,
So no kind of.
but no exception. Okay? So I go here now. Particular affirmative. So I have a subject with a predicate. Affirmative here. Particular, the subject is necessarily undistributed, a part of. Okay? a part of. So note that. Huh? The subject of a particular is undistributed. The subject of a universal is distributed. Okay? So I will say here, some lion is strong. Okay? Now, if I go particular negative, I will have, so the subject will be undistributed. Why? Because the proposition is particular. So I will say some lion is not strong. But if I say some lion is not strong, it is the same thing if I say all lions are not strong. Huh? But it is better to say like that. That is no danger of mistake. Huh? Okay? Now, predicate here. What is the extension of the predicate? The predicate of affirmative is undistributed. And the predicate of a negative is distributed because it's total exclusion, and the totality outside. Okay? Now, you have here the four possibilities, the four combination possible. First, every lion universal affirmative. No lion universal negative. Some lion is particular affirmative. Some lion is not particular negative. And in the tradition of logician, the Middle Age, because they don't forget at that time, students learned by heart. They did not have books. Books was very, very expensive. And a poor student going to university has only the money to eat and to have maybe shoes, huh? Because a book was excessively. For example, they have only one Bible for a big parish, and the poor parish, they have only maybe some part of the Bible, because it was excessive. We have to think about that. So what they use? Their memory. They use their memory. And they have memnic trick, and the memnic trick, memory, memnic trick, two written. And one of the trick was A, E,
Oh, no.
I, O. I like that, because when I write that, I think always to the song very popular, MacDonald had the fun, A-I-E-I-O. It's not difficult. Look at that. It's not as two. Affirmative. You have the word A, E-I. So, firm. Firm. A-I. Because in Latin, like in French, Spanish, Italian, we say A, and not A. Huh? We say A. So, firm, firm. Affirmative. Universal affirmative A, your particular affirmative I. Very simple, no? I can teach that in kindergarten. No? And here, look at that. Negative, and so negative. The verb is nego. Here the verb is affirmo. Affirmo. Here the verb is go. So, go. I deny. Nego, I deny. Affirmo, I assert. Affirm. Very easy. You have to know that as the alphabet. That is fundamental. You must be, for example, affirmative negative does not exist. Nobody reacts. Affirmative negative, is it possible? It's contradictory. Affirmative, universal affirmative. A, universal negative. affirmative, a particular affirmative,
Aye.
universal affirmative, universal affirmative, particular negative. You must master that, okay? Because it will be used continually after. A, E, I, O. We must know that. So that is a must. When you go out of the class, that must be in your DNA. Okay? So here we have the four possibilities we will study. If you have some remark, I have to look with you. Paragraph, when we speak about the copula, the limb, there is a remark. The negative subject and the negative predicate. Well, be careful. Sometimes the negation is not on the verb. Sometimes the negation is on the subject. For example, a non-Italian was elected pope. A non-Italian. The negation is not on the verb. The verb is affirmative. The negation is on the subject. So the proposition is affirmative. And sometimes the negation is on the subject, or sometimes is on the predicate. For example, this man is non-dishonest. The negation is on the predicate, non-P. Non-P. So you may have subject predicate, you have non-S predicate, you may have non-P. What makes the quality of a proposition? It is the verb, not the predicate. Okay, that remark is important. So sometimes the negation is on. For example, I am a politician. I say my adversary is non-dishonest. What is the meaning of that?
He is honest.
Is non-dishonest, is honest. If I say is non-honest, he is not honest. He's not honest. You know, in fact, instead of putting the negation on the verb, sometimes we put the negation on the predicate. So when you put the negation on the predicate here, with the hyphen here, the quality is the verb. Well, we come back on that during the exercises. Sometimes it is tricky, but you must know that. Another thing also, go a little bit further. Particular proposition. You have that 2.2. 2.2. You find that 2.2?
Yeah.
Okay, look at that. The proposition is particular when the subject is taken less than its full extent. Not very, very important. Not every. You have that? Not every. Not all. Or all not. Express a particular sentence. And you have that. Some soldiers are tired, okay, particular. Some oranges are rotten, particular. Some Americans are not happy, particular, negative. Okay, so that's not difficult. But after, not every American is happy. That means particular, negative. Not all American is happy, particular, negative. Every American is not happy, particular, negative. All Americans are not happy, particular, negative. So when there is a negation, not at the beginning or in the middle, the proposition is negative. But if the negation is attached to the subject with a hyphen here, for example, non-American, every president of the United States is a non-immigrant. Is a non-immigrant. then he must be born in the United States. So Vietnamese and Canadian don't wait as hope to become president of the United States. He must be born here. That is the Constitution. Okay. Now the singular proposition, I already explained that. You have also here that we call the circle of Euler. Mr. Euler is a German, mathematician German, and he used a lot of figure to express mathematical realities or concepts. And one that he used circles, and we can take every proposition. For example, every lion is strong. Some lion is strong. No lion is strong. And finally, some lion is not strong. Okay? And we can represent every proposition by circles. Circles. One circle represents the subject, one circle represents the... Well, in the first case, strong. We have the strong people, strong being, and among them, we have a subject, strong here, and the strong is applied particularly to lion. So lion has a, here the predicate has a, it is undistributed, it is a part of, that is the first. The second, some lion, we have the totality of the strong being, but a part here, lion. So that applies to lion, strong apply to some lion, so it is undistributed. No lion is strong, so we have the group of lion and the group of being strong, and they are outside of that. The need total separation. And finally, some lion is not strong. So we have all the strong here, and we have lion. A part of the lion are outside of strong, outside of strong. So strong is totally a part outside of the part of the lion. So here we have distributed and distributed. Okay? So it is a way to represent the four kind of proposition. Okay? And you have that here, the synthesis. Now we go to chapter 9. You have to progress. To progress. By the way, don't forget, instead of going to chapter 9, maybe it's good to make some exercises. Okay? So go to your exercises. On page 200. In the book of Sister Spangler. Okay, here it is to find the distinction between affirmative and negative. Have you some difficulty in that, on that page? Okay, go to number 20. Okay, 20. No, not every butterfly is able to stay alive in this climate. What is the? It is affirmative or negative?
It's affirmative.
Affirmative.
What is at the beginning?
Not
every.
Not every. Therefore, it is negative, particular negative. But letter, particular negative?
E.
Particular negative?
Oh, that's.
Oh.
Oh.
Huh? Oh. Okay, another one.
So was it negative?
Negative.
Number 9. Every airplane
Negative.
is not overloaded.
Negative.
Negative, why? Because we have
No.
No.
It's with
not.
the verb.
Huh? Every is not. Go to verse 6. Mary is non-friendly.
Affirmative.
Negative.
Affirmative.
Affirmative.
Affirmative,
Because of
why?
the predicate.
Because none is attached to the predicate, is iPhone. Huh? But if you go to 5, Mary is unfriendly.
That's negative.
No.
Affirmative.
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 Affirmative. And 4, Mary is friendly. It's interesting, huh? 4, Mary is friendly. Affirmative.
Affirmative.
Yeah.
Mary is unfriendly. Affirmative.
Affirmative.
7, Mary is not, 6, Mary is non-friendly.
That's negative.
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 When the verb, when the noun is attached to the predicate. Huh? That is a predicate. The verb is
Negative.
affirmative.
Affirmative.
The predicate is negative, but the predicate is
Oh, my bad, Father. I was on the wrong one. My bad.
number 6, I said.
I was on 7. My bad. I was
Okay,
like,
7 now is not non-friendly.
Negative.
Negative. 8, Mary is not unfriendly. Negative. Good exercise. Huh? 11, not every indefinite person can be tolerated. Negative, because not every is a negation, and the verb is denied here. Huh? 14, no weather is beautiful, is helpful.
Negative. Negative.
No weather is.
That's it. It is.
No water, no.
No way.
Negative. Huh?
Negative.
Be careful, because sometimes some students they look only at the verb. Is, affirmative. No water is. No is negative. Okay. Go to 15. The water is non-helpful.
Affirmative. The same.
This water is unhelpful.
Affirmative.
Some water is not helpful.
Negative.
Okay. Every city is not located.
Negative.
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 Very good. I go to 20. Not every butterfly is able.
Negative.
Not every butterfly. Negative. Very good. Number 22. No newsstand is closed.
Negative.
Why? Because the verb
No.
no is. Huh? No is. Okay. 23. Not all who came were able to stay. Not all.
Negative.
Negative and particular. Huh? Oh, but you see, we don't speak about it. None of the animal have been fed. None. Negative. None. Huh? None. Nobody. Huh? Nobody. Okay. Next page. 1. If don't answer, huh? Sister. I want to question men. Every dish of ice cream is not melted.
Affirmative.
Affirmative. Why?
Because none is in the predicate.
Is a predicate. Is hyphen is attached to the predicate. You understand that? Okay, good, excellent. 2. None of the tomatoes have been planted.
Negative.
Negative. None. Okay, I mean not at all. Huh? Not all. 3. Not all who answer contributed any money. Not all. Negative. Okay. Sister, you can answer now. Okay. Some non-partisan citizens are unemotional.
Affirmative.
Non-partisan, the non is not on the verb. The non is with the subject. So the preposition is affirmative. Huh? So you can continue. Okay. I go to next page. Now it is to say if the predicate is particular, singular, or indefinite. huh? Or universal. Well, the first, no potatoes have been peeled. No potatoes. Universal. Okay. If I say number 4, every window on the second floor is not open. Particular. Every window is not open. There can be, everyone is not open. There can be some are open, some are not open. You know. It is we in fact written in English to be absolute only. No, with the verb is absolutely negative. So we say not all American is rich, not all the windows, not every window, maybe some, maybe none, we don't know. Huh? Okay? It can be true, but we are not sure. Huh? Number 4, every window on the second floor is not, we said that, excuse me. 5, not every employee has been paid. Particular, not every. Huh? 6, ice skaters frequently fall. Indefinite. And if you put that here, your particular or universal, when you put that, frequently particular, huh? Because some skaters don't fall. They are so good. Someone they fall. You know, frequently. That means not every time. If I say every time, that is universal. Huh? Okay. Okay. George came home late. George.
Singular.
Singular. Excellent. The weather reports have been unfavorable. The weather reports. Indefinite. Indefinite because it's not all. Maybe some. That in general. In general. George Washington was the first president.
Singular.
Singular. Perfect. My newspaper has not come yet.
Articulate.
My, singular. My newspaper, singular. My. Huh? No prisoner complained about the food.
Universal.
Universal. Perfect. Bananas contain a high amount of potassium.
Particular.
It is, yes. No, it is here indefinite. The question is indefinite. But, if you put that phrase, that sentence, and say, is it A or I, it will be,
Okay.
because every banana, it is the composition of banana to possess potassium. Huh? You know,
What is indefinite?
indefinite, it is in general. But if I say bananas contain potassium, it's like water is made with water, oxygen and hydrogen, you know. I'm not obliged to say every water is made with oxygen and hydrogen. So bananas contain calcium, like a salt is salt. A table is chloride sodium. Huh? Okay. Well, every musician came to the practice. You know, oh yeah, 14. Every flowering plant has not been purchased. Particular. Every nut. Huh? Okay. I go to yes, beagles are very friendly dogs, beagles. And beagles, indefinite. Huh? Indefinite. Huh? The West Bridge was washed out of the singular. My new Eastern dress,
My singular.
singular. Some bridge players are ready to begin. Particular. Switzerland is a neutral country.
Singular.
Okay, I go to the last one. No fern is a flower. A foreign plant, no fern. Universal. Okay, next page. You will see that by yourself. Huh? Okay. So it's the same thing. I will go. Oh no, you can do that by yourself. I go now to page 204. That is more important. 204. I will see for some with you they are a little bit tricky. Well, let us begin. No spaceship is indestructible. What is that? Yes, universal negative. What letter? E. Huh? E. E. You, instead of writing universal negative, you write only E. Okay. Some businessmen are not able to meet their obligations.
Oh.
Oh, not bingo. Oh. Huh? If you write O, you must know why it is. You particular negative.
Negative.
That means when you write O, at the same time you don't write O. You write particular negative. Okay, but the symbol is O. Not every rainstorm bring a rainbow.
No.
Oh, particular, not every. Huh? A dozen eggs are needed for the recipe. I agree. Particular, not all eggs, a dozen. Huh? Not all eggs. Okay. 5. Not all who mock their bonds are free.
That's A.
Not all.
Not all.
Not all.
Oh.
Oh, huh? Not all is O, negative.
Oh, it
Not
cancels it out.
is
yeah.
negative.
Not all.
Okay, not all is particular. So negative, particular is O. 7.
Number 7 in Brazil.
A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. But here, yeah, every year we have a discussion about that. So I can accept both. If you take the say, the proverb, in the absolute way, we say universal. A. But you know, sometimes maybe it's not always verified like that. Huh? You know, proverbs are not absolute. Huh? That means sometimes we made the most of the time, so you can accept both. I will not ask that question. Be sure. Every roof, about 8, every roof, that is universal. Okay, brave men were living before Caesar. Aye. Why? Brave men. All brave men live before Caesar? No, a part of the brave men. Because after Caesar also, the brave men live, no? Okay. 10. No shoes were provided. E. Negative. I go to 12. Every ship has not put out to sea.
Every ship is not put out to sea.
Every with not is
That's a E.
oh,
said O.
exactly. Oh. Every not is particular negative. It is O. Now difficulty that here. 13. No shock of corn was left in the field.
No là E.
Universal negative E. Okay. Number 20. Thomas Watson came home last night.
Affirmative.
Is a particular. Huh? E. I. Particular. I. Okay. So now it's time to take a rest. We worked so hard this morning. So hard. Okay.